Have you ever waited years for something so big that, if it finally happened, it could completely change your life overnight? Well, today, we may be closer than ever before to that life-changing moment. A major U.S. banking giant, Wells Fargo, has just done something that has Iraqi dinar holders buzzing with excitement like never before. This isn't rumor, this isn't chatter, this is about real moves being made inside the banking world. And if you've been holding Iraqi dinars for years, or if you've just been following the story from the sidelines, what I'm about to share could be the confirmation that millions have been waiting for since 2003. Stay tuned until the end, because the details unfolding right now could change everything for IQD holders in 2025. In the last week, reports from multiple Wells Fargo branches across the United States started to reveal something very unusual. Employees were called into new training sessions that specifically focused on handling foreign currency transactions. Now, training itself isn't strange, banks do that all the time, but what caught everyone's attention is the fact that this training wasn't about common currencies like the euro or the pound. It was about so-called exotic currencies, and one name that stood out in those internal updates was the Iraqi dinar. For years, Wells Fargo, one of the most conservative banks when it comes to foreign currencies, has refused to touch the dinar at all. Yet suddenly, staff are being prepared for the possibility of large-scale currency exchanges. For many who have been holding dinars for over a decade, this is a flashing signal that something big is brewing. Think about it carefully. Banks don't waste money, time, or resources training staff on things they don't expect to use. When a bank as massive as Wells Fargo starts preparing employees to process potentially huge volumes of exotic currency exchanges, it means they are anticipating demand, and when that exotic currency is the Iraqi dinar, a currency long associated with speculation about a potential revaluation, that preparation speaks louder than any public statement could. Insiders have even revealed that Wells Fargo branches have received updated software systems capable of handling these exchanges. Not only that, but managers were reportedly given memos reminding them to prepare for increased customer visits involving foreign currency. This kind of coordinated preparation across multiple states suggests one thing: the banks know something big is on the horizon, and they are quietly getting ready for it. The timing of Wells Fargo's sudden shift is also very important. It lines up perfectly with Iraq's recent announcements about economic reforms and banking upgrades. Just last month, Iraq completed a major step in modernizing its financial system by linking all its major banks to the international SCFT payment network. For those who may not know, SCFT is the backbone of international money movement. Without it, a country cannot truly trade or exchange its currency globally. Iraq's connection to SCFT means that their dinar is now positioned to interact with world markets in a way it hasn't been able to for decades. Combine that with the International Monetary Fund and World Bank recently praising Iraq's progress, and the picture becomes even clearer. Iraq is preparing for something transformational in 2025, and Wells Fargo's action suggests they already know what's coming. Another critical point is Iraq's growing financial strength. Their foreign currency reserves now exceed $100 billion, the highest level in decades. Oil exports are at record highs, and international investors are slowly re-entering the country. These conditions create the strongest foundation Iraq has had in years for a potential revaluation of its currency. When Iraq's prime minister and central bank governor both hint at major economic announcements planned for early 2025, people take notice. Now, when Wells Fargo, the same bank that refused to handle dinars in the past, suddenly installs software and trains staff specifically on foreign exchange procedures that include Middle Eastern currencies, the dots connect. It strongly suggests that the dinar may be entering a new chapter, one where banks are positioning themselves ahead of the flood of customers who will want to exchange once an official change is announced. But what exactly does this mean for dinar holders? For starters, it means you should begin preparing now, not later. Wells Fargo's reported preparation hints that when the time comes, the process could move quickly. And those who are organized will benefit most. If you've been holding dinars, make sure they are in good condition. Banks are known to reject notes that are damaged, torn, or heavily worn. Store them safely in a dry, secure place. Second, documentation will matter. If you purchased your dinars legally, keep all receipts and records. Banks will ask for proof of purchase, especially for large exchanges. Finally, consider establishing a relationship with your local Wells Fargo branch now. Customers who already have accounts are often given priority when high-demand services roll out. These are small but powerful steps that can make the exchange process smoother once official announcements are made. Skeptics may say we've heard similar rumors in the past, but there's a big difference this time. In the past, stories often came from single sources, whispers, or speculation in online forums. What we're seeing now is widespread, consistent reporting from multiple branches, multiple employees, and multiple systems being updated all at once. This level of preparation is unprecedented. Banks like Wells Fargo do not roll out coordinated training across their network unless they expect to use it. Combine that with unusual activity also being reported at other major banks like Chase and Bank of America, and the picture becomes harder to ignore. This looks less like rumor and more like preparation based on official guidance, which is why the dinar community is more energized today than it has been in years. What makes this even more compelling is the international coordination. Reports suggest that banks in neighboring Middle Eastern countries like Jordan and Kuwait have also updated their policies on Iraqi dinars. They are now accepting larger deposits of the currency, something they refused to do for years. Regional banks would not make these moves unless they too were expecting a shift in the dinar's value or its international usability. This adds another layer of confirmation that what Wells Fargo is doing is not isolated. Instead, it appears to be part of a broader global preparation for Iraq's next move. If multiple regions are gearing up, then the revaluation, or at least a significant adjustment, may already be in motion behind the scenes. So, let's talk about what a revaluation could realistically look like. Historically, major currency adjustments don't happen overnight in a single massive leap. Instead, they often occur in phases. Iraq could announce an initial increase, moving the dinar closer to regional parity, followed by further adjustments depending on their economic performance. Some experts believe the dinar could eventually rise to match or even exceed the value of other regional currencies. Others suggest a more conservative approach, but the key point is this: Wells Fargo's preparation shows they expect the shift to be significant enough to justify retraining their staff, updating their systems, and warning managers to expect unusually high customer demand. Banks don't do all this for minor, insignificant changes. They do it because something substantial is on the way. Another important detail to notice is the timing. Many insiders have pointed out that Iraq's fiscal year and budget planning align with the first quarter of 2025. When you match that with statements made by Iraqi leaders about upcoming reforms, and then compare it with Wells Fargo's sudden system upgrades, the pieces seem to fit together. Banks usually prepare about 2 to 3 months ahead of major financial events, so their staff and systems are ready when customers walk through the door. The fact that Wells Fargo began this preparation now, as 2025 begins, suggests they are aligning with a timeline that matches Iraq's own economic calendar. That's why many observers believe March 2025 could be a key target month for the dinar revaluation or adjustment. Nothing is guaranteed, of course, but the alignment of bank readiness, Iraq's announcements, and international support is too strong to be dismissed as coincidence. For long-term dinar holders, this may be the clearest signal yet that change is around the corner. Now, let's focus on the importance of international backing. Iraq has been under the close eye of institutions like the IMF and World Bank for many years. These organizations do not give positive reports lightly. When they praise Iraq's currency stabilization and economic reforms, they are sending a signal to the global financial community. That signal is one of confidence, stability, and readiness. For Wells Fargo and other banks, such endorsements give them the green light. to prepare systems for potential revaluation events. No bank would act alone without such support in the background. This is why the international praise matters. It is not just words, it allows the global financial system to start opening doors for Iraq. When Iraq's foreign reserves are stronger than ever, oil output is high, and investor confidence is building, the foundation is ready for their currency to finally reflect that strength. Banks preparing in advance is simply the final step before the public sees the changes officially. It's also critical to highlight the role of technology in all of this. Wells Fargo has reportedly installed new software capable of handling massive amounts of foreign currency transactions. This is not just a small update, it's a significant investment. Software changes at a large bank are expensive, time-consuming, and require a lot of approval at senior levels. A bank does not make this type of upgrade unless they are certain it will be needed. The fact that these changes included updated Iraqi dinar rates that are higher than the current market value is extremely telling. While the exact numbers remain confidential, insiders say these new rate scenarios were specifically included in training materials for employees. That kind of preparation is one of the strongest indications yet that banks have received advance notice of what's coming. Remember, banks are always ahead of the public. They must be ready before the announcement so the system runs smoothly once the news is official. Let's pause for a moment and think about what this really means for everyday people who have held onto Iraqi dinars for years. For many, it has been a long, frustrating wait filled with false alarms and broken promises. Yet, those who stayed patient and held their currency may finally be on the edge of seeing results. The signs now are different from the rumors of the past. This time, they involve official bank procedures, visible technology upgrades, and multiple independent confirmations across different regions. That changes the story entirely. It is no longer about speculation, it is about documented preparation. If these preparations turn out to be connected to the revaluation, then the faith of those who held their dinars, despite years of criticism, could finally pay off in a major way. It may very well be one of those moments where patience and belief meet opportunity, transforming the financial lives of ordinary people. Another layer to consider is how banks are managing customer expectations. According to reports, some Wells Fargo branch managers in Texas and other states received memos telling them to prepare for increased traffic related to foreign currencies. That means banks are not only upgrading systems, but also preparing their staff to handle questions, appointments, and potentially even crowds of customers. This kind of advance warning shows that banks are expecting a major event that will bring people in by the thousands. And who are these people? Primarily, holders of Iraqi dinars who've been waiting for years to finally exchange. This is not standard procedure. Banks don't normally warn their managers to expect customers rushing in with foreign notes, unless they are confident something major will create that demand. If this isn't a clear signal of what's coming, then it's hard to imagine what would be. One of the most interesting aspects of all this is how coordinated the developments appear to be. It isn't just Wells Fargo making these moves. As mentioned earlier, other major U.S. banks like Chase and Bank of America have also shown unusual activity in their foreign currency departments. When you see multiple banks moving at the same time, it often means they are responding to the same official guidance. Banks operate in a highly regulated environment, and they cannot make big changes without some form of approval or direction. This suggests that the information about Iraq's upcoming financial shift is not limited to speculation, but is likely based on communication from higher levels of the financial system. Whether that's from U.S. regulators, international institutions, or directly from Iraq's own central bank, the point is the same. Multiple institutions are preparing together, which makes the revaluation story stronger than ever before. Now, let's address what happens next. The most important thing dinar holders can do right now is stay informed and be ready. Watch for official announcements from Iraq's central bank, follow statements from the Prime Minister, and pay attention to updates from major banks. At the same time, Take practical steps like keeping your dinars safe, ensuring you have documentation for your purchases, and building a good relationship with your bank branch. When the time comes, these steps can make the process smoother and faster. Remember that banks will likely prioritize their existing customers, so being prepared ahead of time puts you in the best position possible. The coming months could bring historic changes, and those who are organized will be the first to benefit. Do not wait until the announcement hits. Preparation now is key. So here we are in 2025, after more than 20 years of waiting, watching, and wondering. The evidence is mounting like never before. Iraq has strengthened its economy, modernized its banking system, and gained the support of global financial institutions. At the same time, Wells Fargo and other major banks are preparing their systems, training their staff, and warning managers to get ready for large-scale currency exchanges. This combination of factors is not ordinary. It points towards something extraordinary on the horizon. For dinar holders, this could be the year everything changes. The question that remains is not anymore, but when and how much. Stay tuned, because what happens next could be one of the most important financial events of our lifetime. Wells Fargo's involvement is the biggest confirmation we've seen yet, and it may finally mean that the long wait is coming to an end.